of your screens. So tonight we are hosting our first ever virtual emergency preparedness workshop. I would like to give a special recognition and thank you to Geoff Dunn, who is here with us from the Tompkins County Emergency Response Department. Tonight's program is in partnership with the County Office for the Aging and was made possible in part with funding from AARP. There will be time for Q&A in between the sections. And again, feel free to post any questions or comments in the chat. My name is Thena Lindhorst. I'm the Executive Director of Love Living at Home, and we offer social events and programming as well as volunteer services for Tompkins County residents age 50 plus. I do encourage you to reach out to learn more about our organization, and we are also offering all registered participants a free 3-month trial to join Love Living at Home. At the end of today's session, we will also draw 2 winners for the emergency preparedness kits. So the backpacks that will be delivered to the 2 lucky winners. We will send out a recording of this program for anyone that is not able to join us after the event. And we do encourage you and others to join us November 13th at Library Place for an in-person emergency preparedness workshop. All in-person participants will get a free emergency preparedness kit, but registration is required in advance, which you can do right through the Love Living at Home calendar or contact us. And then our next virtual version will be this training again, December 2nd at 2 p.m. So unless anyone else has questions, I will now turn it over to Geoff Dunn for today's presentation. Thank you, Geoff.
All right, thank you, Thena. And I just answer that there's a question that came in the chat there about the emergency go bags. No, they're not available unless you attend an in-person event. They don't provide those for these trainings, for the virtual ones. We were able to convince them to give us a couple so we could raffle them off tonight. But no, that's they do not provide the bags unless you attend an in-person event. So what we're going to do tonight is a reduced version of what you would see in an in-person training. It is led by the New York National Guard. New York National Guard members teach this class normally. And they make up the Citizen Preparedness Corps, which has been around since February of 2014. It was formed in the wake of Superstorm Sandy after the governor at the time determined that not enough New Yorkers were prepared for disaster or emergency situations. So this course will include information about the types of risks and the hazards that we face, how to develop individual and household plans, emergency planning, and it really encourages us all to think about and what we need in the form of emergency supplies. So, I like to think of this as, we're teaching you how to help yourself and others in advance of a crisis. We call this sort of blue skies. 95% of the time when nothing's happening, and 5% when there is a disaster or emergency. So it prepares you to better react to that. And I also like to think that it also lessens some of the anxiety you may have. If we were to be faced with a situation, in the future. So a couple of reminders you're going to see mentioned in the presentation. We have a video. It's about 26 minutes long. Okay, we're going to break it up a little bit because they go through the material pretty quickly. So that's why I draw your attention to their website. which is prepare.ny.gov, prepare.ny.gov. You'll see it in a couple of times during the presentation. And I would encourage you to, go to that website. There's a link to this video that we're going to be seeing tonight. And you can then review it, watch it at your leisure, take notes, for as long as it would take for you to do that. So, like I said, we're going to go through it pretty quickly tonight. But as Thena mentioned, it is being recorded as well, so you can always go back and watch that video. And the other point I would make is that on my end, the video is up as loud as I can make it, so you may have to adjust the video on your end, on your individual computers. So let's give it a shot. And like I said, there'll be a few spots where we're going to stop it and reiterate some of the points that were made. And if there are any immediate questions that come to mind during the presentation, you can ask them at that time. I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to start the video.
Hello, and welcome to the Citizen Preparedness Corps' Disaster Preparedness. What do you need to know? New York State's Guide for Citizen Safety in an Emergency. The Citizens Preparedness Corps gives residents the knowledge and tools they need to prepare for emergencies and disasters, respond accordingly, and to recover as quickly as possible. As you move through this presentation, you will learn important concepts and techniques for dealing with emergencies and keeping your family safe. Please take your time with this material and take advantage of all the resources listed in this presentation to better protect yourself and those around you in an emergency. By the end of this presentation, you should be able to identify the types of hazards which could affect you and your family, know how to begin preparing an emergency plan for your household, and know how to put yourself, your family, and your community in a better position to recover from a catastrophic event. The agenda for this presentation is as follows. Part 1, preparing your plan. Part 2, you are a first responder. Part 3, recovery is a process. Before we begin, you should be aware of the types of hazards that you will need to think about throughout this presentation. Think about the state, your community, and your home, as each will help you focus on a different set of potential situations that you could face. There are 4 types of potential hazards in New York State, and although some are mainly seasonal events, most can occur at any time. There are natural hazards, such as hurricanes and tropical storms, tornadoes, storms with severe wind and heavy rain, snow and ice, flooding and fire, human-caused hazards such as a bomb threat, terrorism, cyber attack, an active shooter, or domestic violence. There are also technological hazards such as power failures, airplane crashes, dam or levee failures, and train derailments. Finally, there are biological hazards such as infectious diseases, contaminated food, and animal disease outbreaks. Given the wide array of threats which put our state at risk, every New Yorker needs to be prepared for any number of types of hazards and situations where everyday needs may not be readily available. Planning and acting with common sense can make all the difference in a dangerous situation.
Okay, so I'll just pause it there and just for us to kind of think about and brainstorm those potential hazards. And you can just shout out, what do you think, for us would be the most likely hazards that we would face here in our community? Anybody?
Peggy, you're
Peggy's
muted.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay. Anybody else?
Looks like
Oh, now
Denise.
Peggy's unmuted. There she is.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Weather related.
Sure.
Yeah. Power failure.
Power failure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the natural disasters are the ones that we're most concerned about. Primarily flooding. I think that's the one that more than likely is going to affect us more than anything else. Though, of course, we've seen, the bad winds. We've had some wind shears, tornado warnings. Look, the state went through 28 tornadoes last year, which was a record, which, nobody could imagine we'd have that many. So, but those are going to be rare compared to, flooding situations or, blizzards in the wintertime. But the weather then, of course, could lead to power outages and being without power for several days. Robin, your hand up.
Yeah, technology issues like this just recently, the Amazon cloud
Yeah.
failure. We could have all kinds of problems with the grid, with who knows what.
Exactly. And then, of course, we all know we had a biological emergency, right?
COVID.
For 4 or 5 years with COVID. So again, nobody thought we'd have that, and to the degree that it was, and so, but we have to be prepared for it nonetheless. So we'll go through several of those scenarios as we go on tonight. Okay, so we'll resume and go to part one.
And just one more, there was a message in the chat that Eva said where I am, we have a lot of power failures. So
Yes,
I'll relay
yeah.
anything she puts in the chat. She's having a little trouble with audio, so.
Excellent. All right.
Part 1. Preparing your plan. During an emergency, it is always better if you have a plan you can use to guide your response. Being prepared takes 3 simple steps. First, sit down with family members and work together to develop a family emergency plan. Second, prepare your family and your home by learning about techniques and resources to stay safe. Third, practice your plan. Involve all family members and practice the plan to improve it over time. We begin with developing a family emergency plan. Ask yourself and your family these questions. What potential hazards could affect us? Detail the types of potential hazards in your specific area and what impacts they may have on your home, neighborhood, work, or school. Next, think about what is likely to happen with each hazard. Your plan should provide basic steps to address the situations these hazards cause. Finally, keep your family emergency plan simple, so it's easy for all to remember during stressful emergency situations. Now think about who you may be planning for in your family, for example, such as babies or infants, the elderly, or pets. Are there concerns or medical needs that need to be addressed? Does anyone in your family need special equipment or have special dietary needs? What emergency supplies does your family need for daily living? Are these supplies assembled and easy to retrieve? And have you considered what is essential to each member of your family, such as a favorite stuffed animal or toy for a young child? Where will you go in an emergency, and how will you get there? Make sure all family members are familiar with escape routes from your home, work, and places you visit. If you are somehow separated from loved ones, ensure that your family emergency plan includes 2 locations where you will meet up. You should pick 2 locations, one near your home and another outside the community, and ensure that family members are familiar with evacuation routes from your community. Think about how your family members will stay in contact with each other in an emergency. Ask an out-of-town relative or friend to be your point of contact, or choose an organization for everyone in your family to contact. And don't forget about social media, which can be helpful for communications in an emergency, even if it's just to let others know you are safe. Another important part of emergency planning is knowing where to get information. New York State uses the Emergency Alert System, or EAS, and Wireless Emergency Alerts, or WEA, to provide critical information to people in an emergency. NOAA weather radios broadcast up-to-the-minute weather information, so it's good to have one on hand. Warning sirens near places such as dams and nuclear power plants are designed to alert nearby residents of emergencies involving those facilities. And of course, social media can again be an important tool for learning more about an emergency. Remember that services and plans likely exist for those organizations with which you are already involved, such as schools, workplaces, daycare centers, elder care, or senior citizen centers and babysitters. Talk with representatives from these organizations to supplement and align your emergency planning efforts. If you're looking for additional support, local emergency management officials can be tremendous resources who can help with your emergency planning. Other resources include community-based volunteer opportunities, community emergency response teams or CERT teams, local first responders such as volunteer or career fire and EMS agencies, faith-based organizations, and long-standing disaster relief organizations such as the American Red Cross. These organizations can assist you with updated information or locating services such as shelters, food banks, or emergency medical treatment and other services that may be needed within the community.
Okay, so we'll stop it there, halfway through that first part. And a couple of other points to make about notifications. I'm sure you're all aware of Siren, which is our local mass notification system, not only used to convey emergency information, but is also used by many towns and municipalities, towns, villages, and municipalities in Tompkins County to push out information relative to their communities. A lot of times that's for road closures or repairs, water main breaks, that kind of thing. So you can easily, if you're not signed up for Siren, go to our website, tompkinscounty.ny.gov/siren, and it's very easy to do so. The other source of information in an emergency would be 211. We've got a great 211 system in Tompkins and Cortland counties. So I would add that to the list. We don't have any CERT teams in Tompkins County, the community emergency response teams. There was one in Dryden. They had a pretty good group going. They got through a couple of trainings, and then COVID hit, and it sort of broke apart. And when they tried to reformulate that, there wasn't the same amount of interest as there was before. But that doesn't mean there aren't other ways to get involved, as was mentioned. With the American Red Cross or with your local fire departments, they're always looking for volunteers. And like I say, with fire departments, you don't have to fight a fire to volunteer. They need a lot of other support, and you would be then right sort of in their community there in the event that you needed to respond to a disaster or an emergency. Okay, any questions from that first part come to mind? Robin?
Sorry, I keep asking questions.
That's all right.
Social media assumes that your internet and all those, your, what's the word? All the towers are working.
Right, exactly.
What does one do about that? Because I assume that could be one of the big issues.
Well, that's where you get to, you would need to reach out to your local fire department or some meeting place, maybe your neighbors, looking out for your neighbors. If maybe you don't have information, but others do. The cell tower, the cell phones are more important to have than your phone lines, because phone lines are the ones that are going to more likely be out. Cell phones, not necessarily, okay? Because of all the advances in the technology there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And
Dana,
Geoff,
you have a question?
we do have a question in the chat from Denise. So she said, at the in-person session, will any of the entities mentioned attend?
The entities. I guess what do you mean by that, Denise?
So I think some of the emergency response groups that you had mentioned.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
the list that was in the video, and then Jeff, you said there was one in Dryden, but they're no longer.
oh, the CERT team. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, they don't typically attend those meetings. No. No, it's usually the meetings are attended by National Guard members who are the instructors, and then there's a representative from emergency management, usually myself, and then also the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, the local or the regional staff members will be there as well. They because they're actually the ones doing the presentation and the setup and all.
Okay, that's understandable. I'm trying to remember. I went to one of these in-person sessions when I lived in NYC, and that
Okay.
happened close to 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I have that backpack somewhere from that
Yeah.
session.
So that must have been done. That wasn't a state program. That must have been done by the city, probably a city of New York emergency management.
Okay, I gotta look,
Yeah.
I gotta find the backpack and see the indicia that's on the backpack, because I don't remember any of it.
Yeah. Because no, this has only been going on for a little over 10 years that they've
Oh,
been doing
okay.
the state one. So yeah. And we used to have also Office of Fire Prevention and Control used to send a representative for any fire questions that came up. And there's another section on that that's coming up. But and now what I try to do is bring in a local fire a fire chief or a firefighter from the municipality that we're doing the training in. So, like for the one at Library Place, we'll probably have somebody from IFD that'll be there to help answer those questions. Sometimes we don't get any, so but they're there as a resource, subject matter expert they call them. There was one other question, Raj. No, no other questions. Somebody else had their hand up. I thought I saw. Okay.
It's cut out again. I'm sorry, the mic here is not active all the time when I want it to be. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
My question concerns tornadoes, especially during an active alert. At the start of the alert, the tendency is to find a shelter wherever you are. So at my age, I try not to be away from home too often. I'm
Right.
not homebound by any means, but virtually so. But in spite of that, there are situations when it's a medical office visiting, usually there is a immediate guidance available for shelter. But in most other places, is it not the municipality's responsibility to have an active system of informing the citizenry as to their location might be and what the nearest suitable shelter might be? And may I go
Well,
to the next question before, or I just stop here and then I'll come back to the next question after you answer?
okay, well, you're asking about shelters in the event of a tornado. So if there were, it's a very difficult situation because tornadoes can come up very quickly. So the time to prepare for opening a shelter ahead of time is risky. I mean, we don't have that capability because you just don't know when they're going to come up. The best course of action is that you need to be in a secure part of your home. Okay, that is what the recommendation is. If you are in a mobile home, which are the worst places to be in a time of a tornado, you need to plan ahead of time to know where you would go. Where can you go when you hear, the tornado warning has been issued? And if it's severe enough, they're going to tell you need to, seek shelter if you're in a tornado or I mean, if you're in a mobile home, it'll tell you to you need to remove yourself from that situation. Otherwise, it's in basements. Put a mattress over you in the bathtub, that kind of thing. But yeah, that really, when it comes to tornadoes, it's a lot of it is personal responsibility. What's your
I
second
will
question?
ask this as a supplementary now rather than refer you back to my starting preface. I'm
Okay,
talking about somebody like me who has some challenges but not immobile.
Mm.
So there is the question of speed, but leaving that aside as a personal matter, when I happen to be outside, let's say downtown, it's like a city.
Sure.
I
Yep,
live in the town, and there is a alert which I hear on the alert siren,
sure.
Tompkins siren.
Yep.
So I'm actively looking for what is my best option at this point. And I am fully aware that there is no system in Ithaca city or Ithaca town which has a sense of direction and which has actually, I don't know if they ever have prepared a list of suitable public places which we are suitable for sheltering in a thunderstorm or tornado.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So my
the
question is,
best.
should we at least expect that? In fact, I asked the town of Ithaca board,
Yeah.
and three of the members just came out laughing with the question, saying
Mm.
it's your personal responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to laugh, but I mean that is that is a large part of it. If you are out and about when you get a warning, okay, the advice is you need to seek some kind of shelter. Don't stay in your car. Don't continue to drive. And if that's, if you go to the nearest, suitable structure, whether it's the mall or Wegmans or someplace where, yeah, that you be out of harm's way if the tornado was to hit the roadway, for instance, right?
Forgive me, I am aware
Yeah.
of this and I appreciate the refresher. But my question was, when you need and you don't know,
Mhm.
should there be some help source that you can depend upon, which is readily available, in fact, guiding you on their own violation, like an alert system saying, if you're here, please go to such and such location for public shelter. Because I'm prepared at my home for whatever it's worth, all the
Right.
things that you have mentioned. And I actually, my supplementary questions were relating to my home. But since I've taken enough of your time, I will perhaps talk to you individually sometime.
Okay. All right. I will have to look into a little bit more of what you were asking. But it's a difficult question because, especially with that kind of weather instance, we don't have a lot of warning. There isn't a lot of warning. So, okay, let me go back to sharing my screen and we'll go to the next section.
Once you have your plan established, the next step is to prepare your home and your family by learning about techniques and resources to stay safe. You can take steps now to better prepare for an emergency by learning about basic first aid, having a first aid kit and emergency supplies for every member of your family, including pets, acting to prevent fire and carbon monoxide poisoning, knowing to operate critical home utilities, knowing what type of insurance you have, practicing good cyber hygiene, and maintaining awareness of your surroundings. One of the most important things you can know in an emergency is first aid. Sign up for first aid CPR classes to learn how to respond to common medical injuries, including bleeding, burns, poisoning, shock, and respiratory emergencies. You may also wish to obtain additional certifications for AED, Stop the Bleed, and Narcan training. If you know how to stop bleeding, you can save a life. In the event of a major emergency services may be stretched thin, and it could take more time to restore utilities and other services. It is important that all family members be prepared to survive without assistance for 7 to 10 days. Take the time now to identify and collect supplies because when the event happens, it's already too late. Monitor your supplies and replace items when they expire. For a list of potential supplies and for more information, go to prepare.ny.gov. Speaking of supplies, it's also a good idea to prepare a small go kit that you can take with you if you need to leave quickly. Your kit should consist of a sturdy bag, backpack, or duffel bag, water and container, non-perishable foods, flashlight and batteries, a small first aid kit, a signal whistle, moist towelettes, 10 days of necessary medications and cash, and anything else that you will require for a week or more. Preparedness shouldn't just be focused on the people living in the home either. There should also be a focus on preparing the physical home itself. Fire is the greatest safety threat to the population in the United States, more than all other natural disasters combined. It is important to take steps to prevent fire and to teach family members about the dangers of fire. Talk with your family about things that could ignite a fire or contribute to greater fire spread or injury, including cooking, misuse of electricity, heating, open flame, smoking, and housekeeping. If you don't have smoke alarms or have outdated ones, install new alarms throughout your home and test them frequently. You should have smoke alarms in every bedroom, outside every sleeping area, and on every level of the home, including the basement. Remember to change the batteries in all smoke alarms when clocks are set for daylight savings time, or replace existing smoke alarms with 10-year no-tamper battery units. The sensors in fire alarms only last for 10 years. Turn your alarm over to see when it was produced. Do you need a new one? Home fire extinguishers can ensure a small kitchen fire does not spread and burn down your home or the neighborhood. Ensure fire extinguishers are available and that each person in your home knows where they are located and how to use it. It's also important to know the different types of fire and what extinguishers will put them out. As a rule, wood, cloth, and paper can be put out with water, while flammable liquids such as kitchen grease, oil, and gasoline, and electrical equipment such as appliances and televisions should never be treated with water. Always dial 911 before attempting to extinguish a fire. Never put your personal safety on the line when trying to put out flames.
Okay, so a couple points there. You can just shout this out. How often should you be checking your smoke detectors, testing them? Yeah. Anybody?
Once a year? Twice?
Yeah, it should be a little bit more than that. So you're checking the batteries every time we change the clocks, right?
Yes.
But that's different from testing it.
In the chat, someone said monthly.
Monthly, that's it. That's it. Yes, you should be testing them monthly. And then how many fire extinguishers should you have? Any thoughts on that? 2, Sam said 2. I suppose if you had a small house, that'd be a good idea to have 2.
Is it like 1 per floor?
You could look at that way, sure. Yeah, that would be, I think about more about where you want them. Okay, so you want one by the kitchen, right? For, if you had a fire that started in the kitchen. There really isn't a good answer. The instructors that do the in-person training will tell you that as many as you're comfortable with. So, if you want one by a sleeping area, one on every floor, one by the kitchen, one in the garage. The one advice they give is that you want to make sure that your only area, if you have a smoke detector but not access to it at the time of, or I'm sorry, a fire extinguisher but no access to it at the time of of a fire, you're in trouble. So you want to make sure that you have access to a fire extinguisher in another part of that house if your egress is through the fire, really, right? So so just a couple of thoughts on that. And the other thing that caught my ear when they're talking about creating your emergency supplies, and their favorite saying is that you want to make sure you are packing snacks or food that you like. Okay, don't do sardines or something like that. Something that you're going to regret having if you have to eat them, over a long period of time. So, all right. Any questions on that segment before we go on to carbon monoxide?
Yes, we're good to move on to carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide is called the silent killer because it is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless flammable gas that can do severe physical damage and even cause death. When installing carbon monoxide alarms in your home, be aware that the installation location for some alarms vary by manufacturer. Read the provided installation manual for each alarm. Locate alarms near sleeping areas, on every level, and in every bedroom to provide extra protection for loved ones. Remember, New York state law requires a CO alarm in every dwelling unit. To eliminate sources of carbon monoxide, follow these important rules. Do not use unventilated portable heating units indoors. Do not operate damaged furnaces, boilers, or heaters. And do not operate portable electrical generators indoors. Any of these activities can cause deadly carbon monoxide poisoning. When preparing your home for a possible emergency, you should know how to identify utility shutoffs and how to secure them. Electrical utilities include circuit breakers or fuses. Fuel gas utilities include natural gas or propane. And don't forget about your water supply. Check your tools. Do you have the right ones available to complete these tasks? Remember that furnaces, electrical panels, water heaters, fuel tanks, and other utilities must be made safe before an event, and then again after the event if they have sustained physical damage or flooding. Once you turn off your utilities, you should never attempt to turn on any gas, electric, or water connections until the system has been inspected and approved by a professional. Also, don't wait until disaster strikes to review your homeowner's or renter's insurance policies. You should know now what is covered and what is not. Most policies do not cover flood damage. Ask your insurance agent for no and low-cost ways to reduce risk to your home. Photograph belongings and create lists, preferably digital, to catalog items and ensure replacement cost. Keep a copy of your information outside of your home. Maybe you have a safety deposit box or a family member or close friend that will keep this information in another location for you. In the digital age, not all threats are physical in nature, and good cyber awareness and cyber hygiene is a critical element of staying safe from hackers, scammers, thieves, and other bad actors. Beware of common email scams. Use strong, unique passwords and do not share them with anyone. Don't click on links in emails or on social media that look questionable, especially from those that appear to be from banks, credit card companies, government agencies, or other organizations. Monitor your online financial institutions. Do not send personal information and responses to emails, including Social Security or Medicare, and regularly back up important information. Finally, practice makes perfect, especially when it comes to emergencies. Ask yourself and your family these important questions on a regular basis, whether it's month by month or at the very least annually. Does everyone in the family know the plan? Does everyone know who to contact and where to go? Where are your go bags located? Have supplies been checked? And do you need to update the plan? Part 2.
Sorry, it was a little quick, slow on the draw there. So Yeah, updating the plan, practicing it, that's always important. You don't want to make a plan and then just put it away and not think about it until you really need it. But since you haven't looked at it in 2 years, things might not go as smoothly, right? Um, the mention about one of the questions we get a lot is how do you know about turning off your utilities? So where do you find that? And the recommendation is you check with your utility folks, NICEAG, National Grid. The water turnoffs would be, your municipality's in charge of your water supply, unless of course you have a well. And so they can tell you how to turn off your water if necessary. So just a couple of things to keep in mind. And they mentioned about keeping track or a record of everything you have and making a copy of that and putting it in a safe spot. I also recommend that you send that perhaps to your out of town contact person that was talked about earlier in the presentation. Make sure that they have a copy of your valuables and your belongings in the event that you need to have an accounting of what you lost if something were to happen to your home. I forgot to mention at the very beginning that there is this book, this handbook, emergency information handbook that's done by the state that's in conjunction with these trainings. It is the PDF version of this is on the LLH website. I think it's in the same spot, Thina, where they signed up for this training. So you're able to print that off if you want. It's pretty lengthy, but it gives you all of the information in more detail than what we're discussing here tonight, including, easy to make lists for your supplies. And then it goes through all the different scenarios of natural occurrences, obviously cyber attacks, active assailant, and all that. So I would also recommend you look over that and get some valuable information off of that. All right. Part 2 is you are the first responder.
You are a first responder. In an emergency, it's important to remember the first responder is you. During an emergency, don't panic. Take a deep breath and assess the situation. Use your senses. What do you see, hear, or smell? Rely on your training and planning to take action. When it's safe to do so, check on others. Continue to gather information and respond according to your situation, which may change as the incident progresses. If you have received first aid training, first check your surroundings to make sure it is a safe place for you to be. Next, call for help if needed. Remember that emergency services will be busy during a disaster, so only call if you cannot manage the first aid need. Finally, care for the injured person by providing physical and emotional care to the level for which you have been trained. In the event of a major emergency, you may be asked to take one of two actions, either shelter in place or evacuate. If you are asked to shelter in place, take the following steps. First, let someone know where you are. If it is safe to do so, check on and help your neighbors, especially seniors and others who may not be able to care for themselves. Monitor alerting systems such as NY Alert for notifications and ensure that you are receiving constant information from authorities. Stay away from damaged utilities and all downed wires. Treat any downed wire as if it were live. If you are using them, generator and space heaters must be properly ventilated. Review safety recommendations to ensure your safety. And remember to use 911 for life-threatening emergencies only. In an evacuation, as with sheltering in place, the first thing to do is let someone know where you are and where you plan on going. If you have time, check on neighbors. Before you leave, secure your home by moving valuables to a safe location, turning off utilities, locking doors and windows, and boarding up the home. Leave in an orderly manner and follow only official instructions. Know your destination and routes in advance. Take your Go Kit with only the most essential items: water, food, flashlight and batteries, first aid kit, medications, cash, etc. Do not return home until local authorities advise you that it is safe or all clear, and plan on what to do with your pets in an evacuation. Check that where you are going accepts pets.
Quick comment about pets, because that's on everybody's mind, because what do I do with my my dog or my cat, or cats or dogs? And they will take them at shelters, but you need to be able to prove that they have all of their vaccinations. So, because otherwise they're going to be the pets will be put into quarantine. So so when you're preparing all of your documents, don't forget about your pet's vaccination records.
If you find yourself in a situation where you are completely or partially trapped, first, don't panic. Ask yourself these questions to help you stay calm and get help. First, are you able to get to a phone or cell phone? If you can, call 911 and explain your situation. If you cannot get to a phone, can you call for help? Do you have something you can use to get attention, such as a whistle or a surface on which you can tap or bang? Do not continually yell, because it will tire and dehydrate you. Ask yourself, what is trapping me? Is it a blocked exit or debris? Am I injured? How? Can I move whatever is blocking my escape? Escaping partially collapsed structures is like playing Jenga. Shifting the weight of heavy objects can cause further injury, so be extremely careful. If you encounter a situation in which someone else is trapped, first ask these questions. Can you hear them calling out or making noise? Are they within sight, and can you reach them? Are they conscious or unconscious? Can they answer questions? Do they seem to be alert and oriented? Can they move on their own? What is trapping them? Blocked exit, debris, injuries? Can you free them safely? If not, call 911. A boil water order is often issued by local authorities as a precaution when drinking water is suspected to be contaminated by pathogens. If you have any doubt regarding the quality of your water, boil it using this method. Strain the water through a cheesecloth, coffee filter, or another clean filter material. Bring water to a rolling boil for 2 minutes, then let cool. Pour the water into a container that has been boiled or sanitized with chlorine bleach and refrigerate until use. Do not store water in sinks or bathtubs. Do not use unboiled tap water to drink, prepare food, or even brush your teeth. And make sure you do not give unboiled water to pets. If you experience a fire, the first rule is get out, stay out, and call 911. Yell fire several times to alert anyone who may be in the vicinity, and go outside immediately. If closed doors or handles are warm, or smoke blocks your primary escape route, use your second way out. Never open doors that are warm to the touch. If you must escape through smoke, get low and go under the smoke to your exit. Be sure to close doors behind you. If smoke, heat, or flames block your exit routes, stay in the room with doors closed. Place a wet towel under the door and call the fire department or 911. Open a window and wave a brightly colored cloth or flashlight to signal for help. Once you are outside, go to your meeting place and then send one person to call the fire department. If you cannot get to your meeting place, follow your family emergency communication plan. If you see suspicious activity, do not take direct action. Do not confront the individual, and do not reveal your suspicions. If it is safe to do so, record as many details as possible about the individual and their activity, and notify authorities as soon as it is safe to do so. If you have a smartphone, download the See Something, Send Something app from New York State. In any circumstance, if you believe you are in immediate danger, call 911. If you observe suspicious behavior, call the New York State Terrorism Tips Line at 1-866 SAFE NYS.
So a question for the group, what is considered suspicious behavior? Anybody want to give a shot at that?
Someone said ice.
Ice, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unattended packages.
okay. Yeah, generally, it's considered anything that is out of the ordinary. Okay, something that is not part of the regular routine. It's mistakenly thought of that, you're spying on people, but that's not the case. We had an example just the other day, believe it was yesterday in Atlanta at the airport. So there was someone who actually instituted that, see something, say something. And it was a family member of this gentleman who said that, he was posting things on his social media. And so they alerted the authorities, and sure enough, they suspected that he was going to, shoot up the terminal at Hartsfield Airport there, because he had a rifle that was in his truck that he had parked out in front of the terminal, and he had gone in to kind of scope things out. And if it wasn't for the fact that his family had intervened, who knows what could have happened there. So, yeah, suspicious activity, anything that's sort of out of the ordinary that doesn't feel right to you. I think that's a good way to look at that. All right, and this last segment is on the active assailant or active shooter situation that we had just mentioned.
An active shooter is defined as someone who actively engages in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined and populated area with a firearm and has no method to their selection of victims. The sad reality is that an active shooter incident can happen anywhere at any time. That's why it's so important to stay aware and alert whenever in a location where people are gathered, such as a shopping center, hospital, office building, club or restaurant, school, fair or festival, or house of worship. Most active shooter situations are over within 10 minutes, sometimes before law enforcement arrives. Individuals must be mentally and physically able to deal with an active shooter situation. Remember these 3 words: run, hide, fight. Run. Look for an accessible escape path and create distance between you and the shooter. Hide. Buy yourself time. Silence your cell phone if you can. Hide behind something that hides you and would stop a bullet. Lock and/or block doors. Fight. When your life is in imminent danger, as a last resort, fight with all your might. It's important to remember that the order of these actions does not matter here. You should evaluate your own individual situation and determine which response is best for you in that moment. Sometimes you may run, then hide, then run again. You may need to hide, then fight, and then run. Do what works for you in your situation. In an active shooter situation, the responding police will go immediately to the area where shots are being heard or were reported. They will likely bypass non-threatening persons, including injured people. Therefore, you are responsible for your own safety and first aid if necessary. Take care of yourself first and others second. 8 minutes, or 480 seconds, is the time within which an active shooter situation typically begins and ends. Less than 10 minutes. New York State and the State Preparedness Training Center in Oriskany have produced an important video that talks about what you can do in an active shooter situation. Visit youtube.com/NYSDHSES to view the video. Part 3. Recovery is a process. Recovery may not be immediate. Remember, you have just experienced a traumatic incident. Programs to assist survivors may require paperwork. You may need to replace your identification or documentation. Be prepared for scams and remember to take care of your needs. After a disaster, once authorities give the all clear, follow these steps to safely return home. First, do not return home until the area has been declared safe by local officials. Let someone know that you are returning and let them know when you have arrived. Check your home for obvious structural damage before entering, and if you are unsure, consult with a professional. Utilities may have to be checked by a professional and inspect appliances before turning them back on. Do not attempt to turn on any gas, electric, or water connections. Assume all downed wires are live and dangerous. Document and photograph damage to your property. Contact your insurance company as soon as possible. There may be a wait list for inspection of damages and repair estimates. Be wary of fly-by-night contractors and report any scams. Local authorities will provide instructions on disposal procedures, including food, household waste, and debris. Contact your local emergency management office to determine if there are disaster assistance programs in your community. And pay close attention to any program requirements and documentation. When making repairs to your home, consider improvements that will reduce the likelihood of similar damage happening again. Any disaster can be emotionally draining for anyone involved. Everyone exposed to a disaster will have a reaction in the immediate aftermath. For most people, fear, anxiety, and confusion will gradually decrease. Pay attention to yourself and those around you to see if they are overly stressed during a disaster. Make sure you seek appropriate counsel if you feel overwhelmed with fear, anxiety, or confusion. Support could come from a mental health counselor, the clergy, or other trained professionals. Following the information and guidelines in this course presentation can help save your life in an emergency. For more information, please visit www.prepare.ny.gov or reach out to your local emergency management office and get started on your family emergency plan today. Don't forget to include your whole family. Thank you for watching, and be safe.
And there you have it. Have a plan, build a kit, stay informed. Three major things to kind of keep in mind with your emergency planning. So I'll open up for any questions. Again, I encourage you to go to that website, prepare.ny.gov. Great resource. A lot of the material that we've covered today is in there in much further detail. Please go over the video again. If you can, I'd love to see you at at the in-person training, November 13th at Library Place. And believe me, the instructors that they have are much more entertaining than I am. So.
Geoff, you were very entertaining and you did a great job. Thank you.
Okay.
Are they going to sing and dance around the information? Is that why, Jeff?
Well, yeah, they do a little bit of that. I think they have their dog and pony show a little bit, so they have a lot of fun with it. But it's they're very entertaining. They keep it moving, and I think they're good at engaging their audience. So I definitely encourage you to attend if you can.
Nice. I like that you said dog and pony show. Thank you.
Well, the one tech sergeant that he doesn't like cats, so he kind of, that's part of his theme of his presentation.
I think maybe Helene had a question, but you are muted.
All the thank yous that I see there, you're welcome. I hope you got something out of it. Please, reach out if you have any questions that might come up tomorrow. You can reach out back to Athena, and she can get me the questions, and I can certainly work on getting information to you. And download the emergency handbook if you can, or print off pages that maybe would just apply to you.
And the LLH office can print out the full handbook for you too if you'd like a paper copy. All right, I will steal the share screen and
Well, Colleen is still trying to, I see she's still talking, but she's muted.
let's see.
No.
So, Helene, maybe you could put your question in the chat, or if you hit the bottom left, the audio button, you might be able to unmute that way. Unfortunately, it won't let me manually unmute you. I can only ask you to unmute. But in the meantime, I will do our giveaway for the 2 emergency preparedness kits. So I'll do a quick share screen for that, and then we can come back to the full conversation for additional questions. So let's see. So I made it official and put everyone's names. Can everyone see the wheel of names on your screens?
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. I'll skip this ad. And then the first winner of the emergency preparedness backpack is Beatrice. So that's B.
Nice.
And so I will reach out to the winners to get the backpacks to you. And the second winner, here, we'll shuffle the names up. The second winner is
Suspenseful.
Ed.
Edward. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, so Ed and B, I will be in touch to get your backpacks delivered to you.
Oh,
I'm
I think Colleen is,
muted.
unmuted. There you go.
Muted finally.
Yay.
Back in the day, I'm talking about the early 200s, no, 2000s,
Right.
at Cornell.
Yeah.
We were trained, in terms of what we could do with active shooter. However, we were also trained that given something like it was avian flu at the time,
Okay,
a
sure.
precursor to COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and the way it was presented was, it's not if, but when we will have this.
Right.
This
Sure.
is what you need to do. It was very clear that Cornell would take care of the students. It was all very clear that we were to take care of ourselves unless we were, emergency personnel, that kind of thing. And at the time, I checked the federal information, and it said 1 month of water and food. Cornell told me and everybody else to have 3 months of water and food. Now, we had COVID, but we didn't have anything like what they were anticipating. What do you say today about that?
Yeah, I think that, well, I think because they didn't know, necessarily what they were going to be dealing with, that's why the numbers were so extreme.
Oh, yeah.
3 months of supplies or whatever. So,
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the standard is, 2 weeks, 10
Not
to
1
14
month.
days. Not 1 month.
month?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got 2 weeks, plenty of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And you always want to, for those who, I mean, does everybody have sort of the semblance of a go bag or an emergency kit in case you are, say, stuck at home for 3 or 4 days? I've got, it's funny, I have one in my car and I have one at home. I've got one in my office. But, the thing to kind of, remind yourself about that is that thing, you want to make sure you're checking that to make sure nothing has gone bad or expired or whatever. I mean, you can't keep water forever, especially bottled water, because of the plastic nodules, right? Plastic.
Right.
Included. I mean, we're talking about years. I mean, you don't want to keep that. So, yeah, that was pretty extreme that they were
So
saying,
that's overkill.
3 months. Yeah, that's overkill. I
Okay.
mean, a month is okay. I mean,
Yeah.
but I think, having the supplies for 2 weeks if you were to leave your home or need to leave your home
Yeah.
is a good starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was that we would be confined, I believe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
If you were
Okay.
at home, right? Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, Eva said to take your emergency bag, your go bag on a picnic. Keep it fresh. That's a
Okay,
good
thank
idea.
you. Thank you.
All right, can I just show one more thing, Dana? Do we have, I know we're hit our hour, but let me just, I just want to just show everybody the website, tompkinsready.org, which is a great resource. Again, a lot of the material we've covered here is on this page. There's the registration for the Thursday training that we're going to do at Library Place. Here's a lot of checklists that you can use, preparedness
You can
checklists.
You can start. I'll be in.
Scenarios. And then over here, under on the left-hand side, there's some of the material we talked about what type of emergencies can happen here. There's some links to FEMA and ready.gov, which is the preparedness, the national preparedness site. Okay. Some of the things down here, water, they say 1 gallon, remember 1 gallon per day for each person and pet. And then if you have not signed up for Siren, you go right here. There's a link right off of the Tompkins Ready page, and you can sign up for getting your local alerts. All right. And I think Thena, the LLH office can help assist anybody who's who wants to sign up for Siren and is having difficulties.
It's more than happy to.
Nice.
Hi there. Can I ask one quick?
Sure.
Hi, my name's Samantha. I'm a student at Cornell.
Hey,
I just took Professor Brenner's Resilience and Vulnerability class as part of my master's and
Great.
became obsessed with this topic. That's why I registered for tonight's training.
Nice.
I want to do this professionally and thought this might be a great start. What else would you recommend for someone who is looking to get into this field?
Well, I would say for sure, we talked a little earlier about volunteer opportunities within your community. So your fire departments would be the primary avenue for that. I would also get in touch with the American Red Cross. They're always looking for people who can assist with their projects, namely like the blood drives. They do several blood drives a month in the area, and they need help in running those, and a great way to meet people and help. You're helping community resiliency by by assisting at those blood drives. So those are two that I would if we do have a CERT team, that we can get a CERT team up and running again, that would be another opportunity. There is a bit of a training commitment involved in that, but that would be sort of boots on the ground work. The other thing would be to check with, there is an Ithaca Company 9, Ithaca Fire Department Company 9, which is the fire police. And they're always called upon to assist with traffic control. Again, you don't need to be able to fight fires, but you can assist at fire scenes. So does that help you?
It does. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And Geoff, there's a question in the chat. Is there anything we can do as seniors to help in our local EMS areas?
Local EMS, that's difficult to say. I mean, EMS is at a, they're really short-staffed in a lot of these agencies around the county. So I'm not sure what directly you would be able to do. I would maybe call out to them, maybe call Bangs and see if there's, a spot for you. Or what kind of assistance they may need or could get from you. But to be honest with you, I don't know the straight out answer on that, sorry.
And just stay vigilant, again, with the see something, say something, help your neighbors and be supportive and share your knowledge with others. All right. Are there any
Okay.
other questions for Geoff? All right. Well, thank you
Thanks,
so
everybody.
much, Geoff.
This was great. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you all for coming as well. Have a good night. Thank you. Thanks, Geoff.